We're continuing our game of two truths and a lie. Hit it. It was 2021, but it was all about the 80s. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Now, joining me is a Totally Rad Christmas all-star and one brand new, very special guest. From the Radical Christmas Clatter, it's Todd Killian. And from the legendary father of all Christmas podcasts, the Christmas Past podcast, it's Brian Earl. All right, welcome back. So we are doing part 3 of Two Truths and a Lie, decade the 80s. You can catch part 1 on Christmas Past podcast with Brian Earl and part 2 over at Christmas Clatter with Todd Killian, where you'll see that while I'm winning, it is very, very, very narrow. And chances are I probably will lose, but it's okay. It's okay. We're not going to be bitter about that. Instead, we're going to continue, and I'm going to see if I can be a better liar than these two lovely gentlemen in front of me. So, guys, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So before we begin, let me recap. I am at 15.5 points. We have Brian Earl at 4.5 points and Todd Killian at 13.5 points. Don't ask about the half. You'll have to go listen. It's actually quite an interesting story. All right. So question number 1. According to the Strong National Museum of Play, Ninja Turtles were the best-selling Christmas toy of 87. The NES was the best-selling toy of 88, or the Game Boy was the best-selling toy of 89.
Okay, well, I'm guessing, and so again, we're just to establish the rules here that it's the whole thing is either true or the whole thing is false, right?
Not necessarily.
Oh, gosh.
I did not follow Todd's Todd's logic here.
So
it could be that the Game Boy was the best-selling toy of some year, but that the thing that's potentially false is just the year.
Very possible, yes.
That's possible, okay.
Mm-hmm. I lost so bad last time I had to try to make up for it somehow.
Jerry D, back with a vengeance. Round 3. I am going to take from my extensive Wikipedia research, I'm leaning towards the false being Ninja Turtles 87. I'm thinking 87 was NES. Well, hang on. How would that work? Because if you say NES was 88 and I'm thinking NES was 87, that would make... All right. I'm just going to go with Ninja Turtles 87 is a lie.
I'm thinking Ninja Turtles too, but for a different reason. Like, I just don't remember like a lot of super popular Ninja Turtle toys. Like, I'm sure there were figures, but I don't remember those like being huge. So I could be totally wrong. I probably am, but I'm just going to go with Ninja Turtles for that reason.
And you are both correct. Jenga was actually the most popular Christmas toy of 1987.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jenga.
According to the Strong National Museum of Play. That's where I got that information.
I was right, but not for the reason I thought it was. I'll take it anyway.
All right. So let me mark down these points here really quickly. All right. Question 2. In the 1988 Richard Donner film Scrooged, A, all of Bill Murray's brothers were in the movie in pivotal roles or as party guests. B, when Carol Kane grabbed Bill Murray's lip, she tore it so badly that filming was halted. Or C, Bill Murray's fall on the way out of the restaurant was a genuine accident.
I know the thing about Carol Kane. I don't know about the lip grabbing, but I know she hurt him making the movie. So there you go, Todd. I'm giving you a freebie.
Yeah.
But you probably knew that too.
Not really. I'm not a big fan of this movie.
It's not I think I've only seen it once.
I've seen it several times through other people talking about it, but that's
Mhm.
that's been it. Oh,
So Bill Murray, I didn't even know Bill Murray had brothers,
I knew he had a brother. I didn't know he had more than one.
but maybe that's why that's the false one. And so the last one was, he actually fell down,
Mhm.
and they kept it in the movie. That does happen,
Yeah.
but did it happen here? The thing is, I don't remember the scene, so I can't. I would just be guessing. But if he only has one brother, the statement "all of his brothers" would totally be true, wouldn't it? If it's just the one.
I'm gonna lean towards the fall, just because.
I think it's the fake one.
Yeah, as the lie, because if he's got more than one brother, I could see him having them all in there as a half gag, half favor.
All right, I'll go with that too. We'll go with the fall.
Locking in the fall.
Yes.
Okay. No, it is actually all of his brothers. He has 5 brothers, and only 3 of them appeared in the movie. So one of them played his dad. That's Brian Doyle Murray. Then the other one played his actual brother in the movie, and then the other one was the party guest for his brother. So
you get a point for fooling us both.
I do. Yay. Maybe I'll actually win. I don't know. Okay. So yes, every time I stump you guys, I get a point. Otherwise, if you guess correctly, you get a point. Just to recap the rules there. Well, let's move on. In the 1987 Emmy Award-winning Acclamation Christmas Celebration, A, the California Raisins were a last-minute addition to the special. B, 3 songs were scrapped to make room for dialogue. Or C, the street corner singers had to match the Temptations singing exactly.
I don't think anything could be added. Like claymation, you don't just throw that in at the last minute, right? That stuff's like years or months or whatever So I can't imagine it's that. And I also can't imagine like songs would be scrapped. I don't know, because that's obviously, if that's true, that is some very poor planning, right? Because that again, that takes time, that costs money to have music, and I would imagine music would be pivotal in a Christmas special like that. So that would leave, by process of elimination, the thing about matching the Temptations singing. But that sounds plausible too.
I remember watching that and liking it, but I also remember waiting for the whole thing for the raisins to show up. I was a little disappointed that there wasn't more California raisins in it.
While you're thinking, I'll tell you a quick anecdote that in my 7th grade talent show, some kids actually lip synced to the Heard It Through the Grapevine, dressed as California raisins. And the way that they dressed as California raisins was they all basically just wore black trash bags. They were wrinkled to kind of look like a raisin.
Yeah.
Yep. They didn't win the talent show.
No. In 7th grade, no, probably not.
Yeah. There was some kid who he had a cardboard guitar and he lip synced to "We're Not Gonna Take It" by Twisted Sister.
Nice.
No, sorry, "Come On Feel the Noise" by Quiet Riot.
Oh, Quiet Riot, yeah. Nice.
Both good choices.
Mm-hmm.
Twisted Sister, highly underrated Christmas album.
Really?
Yes.
Don't think I know it.
It's very good. Their version of Deck the Halls is probably one of my favorites. And that's legit. It's really
I'll
good.
have to check it out.
Well, they kind of went untwisted a little bit. I think it was in the late 80s. Remember that song "The Price" or something like that, where they didn't have the makeup on?
Yeah, Kiss kind of went through that too.
Yeah. And Dee Snider, that dude's got to be pushing 70, and he's still just ripped. I saw a picture of him recently. He still performs shirtless, and he's jacked. It looks like he's on steroids or what. I was like, oh, I hope I look like that good when I'm in my late 60s.
I'm going to go with the lie being California raisins, the last minute ad.
Yeah, that sounds right, because you just logistically adding something like that at the last minute just seems like too much.
Because they seem like they were the thing that kind of rebirthed that claymation craze through the mid 80s. So that would be the catalyst to make a Christmas special with claymation.
Yeah.
Final answers?
Yes.
Actually, it was that is actually true that the California Raisins were a last minute addition.
Dang.
The lie is that it was actually 2 songs that were scrapped to make room for dialogue, not 3 songs.
Yeah.
You got to dial in on no Jerry.
All right.
Hey.
We're gonna have to agree on the rules next time.
I think you're right. Yeah.
How much of a lie can it be? We're going
All right.
with just
Next time we'll do all or nothing. All right.
They were ditties. That's different.
we going with second grader lie, or are we going with psychopath lie?
Little column A, little column B. All right. So the Top of the Pops was a decades-long music show in the UK and the US featuring live performances and pre-recorded segments. In the 1987 Christmas special, A, Sting sang Gabriel's Message solo accompanied by a string quartet. B, Nia Peoples got snow dropped on her hair while introducing the Bangles. Or C, Naomi Judd admitted that her kids would get her slippers every year for Christmas.
I believe Sting, because he actually recorded Gabriel's Message. I think that's like one of his favorite Christmas songs.
It's a good song.
Are you guys watching Only Murders in the Building, by the way?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's pretty good, yeah.
That's on Hulu, right? With Steve Martin?
Yeah. It's just so out there, but I just recently started listening to true crime podcasts, and it's like so everybody that listens to true crime podcasts.
Well, have you ever heard the spoof podcast, like Murder? I forget who put it out. It was, I think, The Onion. It was like a spoof of true crime podcast. Do you know what I'm talking about, Todd?
I don't know if I've heard that, but yeah, it sounds familiar.
But then it even has like fake commercials.
Yeah.
So it has like a box service where you get a box. There's this fake product called like Box, where you get like a box service delivered every month.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I have to look at it.
It's a good bit. Yeah.
I love Martin Short. He's like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
On YouTube, you guys need to check out the channel That Chapter. It's a true crime, and that guy is hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Why are we talking about this?
Because of Sting.
Oh, yeah. Sting. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
I'm thinking Naomi Judd because she seems like she doesn't fit in there.
Yeah, and like dissing your kids on TV, assuming that is a diss, to say that they get her slippers every year. That doesn't sound.
The Bangles, were they that popular in '87, or were they before? And so I'm going Judd. I'm going Judd's a lie.
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, saying something like that could be the kind of thing that would play for laughs. And again, just like basing it on absolutely nothing. And one guess is good. You know what? I'm going to spread the risk here. We're going to hedge. I'm going to say it's B.
Final answers?
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay. It's actually Sting sang Gabriel's Message solo with no accompaniment.
Dang, Jerry.
Naomi Judd really did admit it was her and Winona. She told a story about how every year they would save their money and they would buy her some pink slippers. And Nia Peoples, while introducing the Bangles, who had just recorded A Hazy Shade of Winter for, what's that name of that? I can't even think of the name at the moment. No, it was based on a novel. But anyway, they recorded that. She introducing them, got the snow dropped on her head. So, yeah.
Wow.
All right. So another point for me. And I think you're right. I think we are going to have to agree on some rules next time. I feel like I'm cheating now. So to recap where we are, Brian is at 5.5 points. Todd is at 14.5 points. And I am now at 17.5 points. So question 5, it was popular in the UK to license IPs and release comics and magazines, often weaving in various holidays throughout the series. In the 1987 UK Masters of the Universe number 46 Christmas comic, A, the pixie-like race called the Joybringers sprinkled their joy dust on Eternia. B, Orko created a magic chocolate soldier army. Or C, He-Man and Ram-Man defended Castle Grayskull from a rampaging Metacongmi looking for its lost mate.
See, chocolate soldiers. I'm just comparing it to like the He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special. Nothing like that happened. There was like a unicorn, right? Hmm. Excruciating silence.
Yeah.
This out.
Yeah.
It's like I'm trying to pick apart the details to see which details could be false. The chocolate soldiers, I mean, Orko doing something silly, it makes sense, but chocolate soldiers, and then I never heard about those pixies before on He-Man, but it does seem to kind of fit.
Well, I'll give you a hint. They're not considered canon. Like none of this is considered canon to the He-Man universe. So the comics did have a lot of leeway.
Yeah, but chocolate soldiers, just something about that sounds off to me.
Yeah, me too, Brian. It just doesn't sound like it's. I know it's Christmas, but it doesn't sound like it's a big enough problem for He-Man. Chocolate soldiers.
All right, chocolate soldiers.
Okay. If you're sure, unfortunately, you are incorrect. He actually did create a magic chocolate soldier army. The false one there was He-Man and Ram-Man defended Castle Grayskull from an alien army of actors. They actually thought it was an invading army, and it turns out they were just actors shooting a scene. The Metacongmi was a beast that the Thundercats faced off in their UK Christmas comic.
Oh.
Thundercats Christmas.
Well, so it's funny because it's not technically Christmas. It's a wintertide Christmas-esque celebration called Ramastide, where they commemorate the downfall of Mumra in the first age, something like that.
As long as it's not Life Day.
Kind of, yeah, exactly. Just another Life Day. All right. 1989 brought National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation to theaters. That movie had A, Chevy Chase using cue cards around other actors' necks to help him improvise his famous rant. B, Chevy Chase wearing a blue Chicago Cubs ball cap, which he wore throughout the first two Vacation movies. Or C, Chevy Chase breaking his pinky while punching out the plastic Santa.
Oh, okay. I might actually get this one right because I know. Well, which should I say I know? Because I don't want to. But Todd, you probably know this movie pretty well. So
yeah,
I don't have to worry about helping you.
I'm trying to remember the Chicago Cubs hat. I do not remember a Chicago Cubs hat.
He wears a baseball cap for sure. He does. I remember. Yeah.
But I don't think it's a Chicago Cubs hat.
I know he definitely broke his pinky punching the sand. That is 100%. Or he broke a bone. See, now I'm getting in Jerry's head. I was like, no, maybe it was his index finger.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't. It was his radius and not his clavicle or whatever it is.
It was only the first phalanx. Okay, so he broke something. So I think that one's true. Then did he put cue cards around the actors' necks? That kind of sounds. Didn't Marlon Brando do that in The Godfather? It was like he needed a lot of cue cards.
I mean, the way that scene is shot, I could see that working.
I saw like a picture of that somewhere. Like one of the actors was holding his lines. Marlon Brando, I mean. Would Chevy Chase do the same thing?
It seems like that scene could be completely improv, though.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know he wore a baseball hat, but I do not remember it being Cubs. Because the only thing Cubs that I remember standing out is the Blackhawks jersey he wears.
And where does that movie supposedly take place?
It's in Chicago.
Oh, okay. I remember the hat that I remember from a picture because I was looking at this recently. It's like dark blue. The Cubs, are they blue and orange?
Well, they're blue. It would be a blue hat with a red C.
Red, yeah. I was thinking orange. You know, I think that is true. This could totally be like Mandela effect. You know, like now that said it, like, you know, oh, okay, that's affecting my memory. But something about that sounds right to me.
I'm gonna rest on the Cubs hat being fake because I sure don't remember it. I remember a baseball hat, but I sure don't remember it being Cubs.
Okay, well, I think the cue cards is fake.
Final answers?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So Todd actually gets the point here. It was a Chicago Bears cap, not a Chicago Cubs cap. He really did.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
He really did use the cue cards to help him. So while most of it was improvised, it was just quick little notes to help him kind of go from one idea to the next.
Huh.
Orange
And yes,
makes
he did break
sense.
his pinky. I didn't lie about that.
Orange makes sense now, Brian. Why are you thinking orange? Because that would be Chicago Bears with the orange C on it, and it'd be a dark blue, almost black.
Mhm.
So,
Yep. Very good. Let's keep moving on here. Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys often teamed up. In the 1988 super mystery, A Crime for Christmas, A, the Hardys are tracking a smuggling ring. B, the whole group takes a horse-drawn carriage ride in Central Park. Or C, they attend a UN gala dinner on December 21st.
Oh, interesting. Something about the smuggling ring sounds correct. Yeah, I had like a huge collection of Hardy Boys books. I didn't read them all. Like they were just in my house. But it was amazing, like the kind of stuff that they would get into in those stories. They're like smuggling operations and stuff like that. Sounds pretty plausible.
Yeah, I was always a huge Hardy Boys fan.
Do you guys see there's a new Hulu series.
I have it on my queue, but I haven't seen it.
It's not bad. Like it's not I think they do enough of the old, to kind of like make it nostalgic, but then it's
Right.
definitely, the camera work and all that like definitely does not make it feel like it's an old kind of show.
Gotcha. Cool. I can't wait
And I
to check it
forget
out.
if they changed anything from it. I think the age difference of the boys might be different in the show.
Oh, instead of a year.
Yeah, they look, like there's a big difference in age in this one.
other than that, they solve mysteries. I had known nothing of the Hardy Boys, or other than her name and she solves mysteries. I know nothing of Nancy Drew.
I only just recently found out that Ghostwriters actually wrote it under the name of Franklin W. Dixon. I had no idea.
Oh, because they're still coming out. Like there's
Mhm.
Hardy Boy books, from the last couple of years.
Well, and I just assumed that people were just writing in their spirit, the way people kept writing Bond books after Ian Fleming. But no, those original ones apparently were all just ghost written as well.
Yeah, I think it was like pretty common back in those days where the publisher
Yeah.
would have a name, like they owned the name and they would hire people to write under it.
Yeah.
You would see that a lot in like old pulp magazines. They would call them house names. So, like some name like blah, 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 blah. But then they would just hire any writer to be like, okay, you're writing a story as so and so.
I'm just complete stab guess in the dark, and the one with the UN. That seems a little bit above their pay grade.
No, but it does sound kind of like the hijinks they might get into.
Not locking it in yet, Jerry. Don't lock me in yet.
And B was what? There was a smuggling ring, the UN, and then what?
The whole group takes a horse-drawn carriage ride in Central Park.
Oh, that's one of those innocuous ones. It's like, sure, I could see that happening. There's no reason that shouldn't be true. Unless it's like one of them, like that's one of their principal character traits is that they hate horses or something and would never get near one.
If they were helping the UN, they would be in New York City to take a carriage ride.
Yeah.
What was that first one about smuggling?
That they're tracking a smuggling ring.
I mean, that is definitely the kind of thing that would happen, but in this one, I don't know.
I'm thinking the smuggling ring might be false because he's using a common word to lure us in. I think it's true.
I'm just going to go with the horse carriage ride.
I'm going smuggling.
All right.
And Todd is once again correct. They were actually tracking cat burglars.
Cat burglars.
Cat burglars. Yes. So Todd is closing the lead. So we are.
Right. I'm still in this. I still got to stick to fundamentals.
unless my scoring is incorrect, I am currently in the lead with 18.5. We have Todd coming up next with 16.5, and Brian pulling up the rear at 5.5.
How many questions are there left?
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5.
Okay, I still got this.
All right. 'Twas the Night by Chris Claremont, Mark Silvestri, and Joe Rubinstein was the title of the story from Marvel Comics' Uncanny X-Men number 230. It featured A, the mutant Longshot using psychometry to learn about the Reaver's stolen loot. B, the X-Men teleporting the stolen items back to their original owners on Christmas Eve. Or C, the X-Man Rogue gifting the Aboriginal Mutant Gateway a new didgeridoo on Christmas morning.
Or I'm just going to say whatever Todd says because that was all gobbledygook to me.
I am completely unsure. You said Deathlock?
I can read them again if you'd like.
Not just Deathlock.
I didn't mention
give a
Deathlock.
year. You didn't?
I did not mention Deathlock,
Okay.
no.
Who was it?
Longshot.
Longshot, okay. What year did you say?
This is from, I didn't say, it was just from number 230.
Okay.
But I believe it was 1987.
Okay. A complete guess. I will say the false one is Longshot.
Okay. That's what I'm saying too.
Guess.
No, it was actually Rogue. She gifted the Aboriginal mutant named Gateway. She gave him a flute on Christmas morning, not a didgeridoo.
Well, if he's Aborigine, it automatically becomes a didgeridoo. Even if it is a flute. Because didgeridoo is a lot funner to say than flute.
It is definitely much more fun. That's why I put it in there. All right. Here's a much easier one. In the season 2 episode of the sitcom Full House entitled Our Very First Christmas Show, A, it was the first time a special Christmas card style border and lettering was used. B, it was the first time Jesse and Becky kiss. Or C, it was the first of 4 Christmas episodes.
I'm going to ask for an elaboration on the Christmas border.
So they tried to make it look like a Christmas card. So it was a green border with leaves and it had green lettering.
Do you mean like the title card for the show?
No, it was at the end of the episode. It was a special Christmas ending.
Oh, ending. Okay.
Or was it?
Did you give a season number?
Yes, season 2.
Okay. I don't think Becky was on season 2. I think that's too early. I think it's too early for Aunt Becky. So I'm going to rule her out. I don't remember a ton of Christmas episodes that you would think they would have a Christmas episode every year.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick up on Jerry's pattern. Like the third one kind of has the feel of like, oh no, it was actually, there were 3 Christmas episodes.
Yeah.
And so that's how I was trying to get it. So am I thinking there might be something there? The Christmas, I'm having trouble visualizing what that even means. Like,
I see. I don't remember a lot of Full House Christmas episodes at all. I'm going to say it's the first of 4 is the lie.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
Locked in?
Yes.
You both are correct. It was the first of 3 Christmas episodes. You guessed it. It's awesome.
Oh, too bad we're picking up on your pattern this late in the game.
Well, I wasn't this late. I mean, this is like the first time I'm lying. So before I was just guessing. All right. So we'll do one more and then I'll do a recap. During the Christmas season of 1988, 2020 ran a segment on Nintendo. John Stossel, A, interviewed a gentleman who drove 1,000 miles to get a Nintendo and Super Mario Brothers 2 game for his kid. B, interviewed a gentleman from Hobby World who said Nintendo does twice as much business as Barbie. Or C, interviewed a video game designer who tells him the computer chips can create characters that aren't just stick figures anymore.
So 2 of those are true.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's just jumping out at me is like the outselling Barbie. 'Cause I can imagine it probably would, but like that's one of those things you never hear about Barbies becoming like huge sellers, but then it's like it's just been true for the last several decades that it's the number one selling toy, even though it doesn't have the most like media splash. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah.
Do Barbies, are they still big sellers?
Oh yeah.
They are now?
Mm-hmm. My 8-year-old girl just loves them. They got all kinds. They always come out with new play sets and clothes and accessories, and Now they even have like I forget what they call them, but try to be kind without offending. They have more what we call realistic body shapes Barbies
Mhm.
now. So
I'm totally wondering what kind of stuff Dash is going to be into. Like right now, it's like in his toy box is just like all kinds of books and whatever. But there's also just like used or like finished paper towel rolls in his
yeah.
toy box.
Yep.
He loves those as much as any toy. Like he'll
Oh
take
yeah,
those
yeah.
out and just bang on things with them.
Yep. That sounds about
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Liking the box more than the toy is a real
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay, so I don't know. So it was the Barbie, the guy who drove really far, and the game developer who says that it can make characters that aren't like stick figures.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But that one that might not be true because but like Atari and ColecoVision had fairly good graphics, which came before Nintendo.
Yeah. That's the one I'm leaning towards because it seems like the one with the guy going 1,000 miles would be the right story that the news would pick up to
Yeah, yeah,
put
yeah.
on there.
Yeah, okay, I'm going with the game design.
Me too.
That's a good guess, but it is incorrect.
Oh,
So it actually, Nintendo actually did 3 times as much business as Barbie that year. So it sold $1.5 billion.
Wow.
whoa,
Yeah, that pretty much just blew my mind when I heard that.
yeah, holy cow!
Yeah, but no, the game developer actually said that. All right.
Stating the obvious.
Yeah, pretty much. And the gentleman did drive 1,000 miles to get Nintendo and Super Mario Brothers 2.
So 1,000 miles, let's just put that into perspective. That would be like from California to what? Like it's like about a third of the way through, right?
What? Well, it's 1,200 miles. I live right on the Mississippi River. It's 1,200 miles from here to L.A. So,
Okay. So about that,
mhm,
roughly.
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
yeah. Basically, yeah.
I love my
yeah,
kids. I wouldn't do that either.
yeah.
Imagine if he
Basically,
came all that way and then the thing wasn't available. I would imagine this guy was like just taking this road trip anyway.
What he
yeah.
And
actually said was that he was visiting about 7 stores a day for the last, like, I think 3 days,
wow.
and he still hadn't been able to find it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Basically, St. Louis to L.A. roughly.
Wow.
And he was buying it for his kid?
For his kid, yeah, for Christmas.
I mean,
It's a
I'd rather,
really interesting segment, actually. It's not very long. It's I think about 16 minutes long, and they just really go into everything and about Nintendo, and of course, is it a danger? Is it going to rot their minds, and that kind of thing. But just also the demand, and it's
yeah.
just it's really just intriguing. But right now I am ahead with 20.5 points. We have Todd at 17.5 points and Brian at 6.5 points.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I need these last ones.
Yeah. So here we go. Hallmark has produced keepsake ornaments for decades. In 1988, they released a donkey in a sombrero with a satchel and a package that reads Feliz Navidad. B, a chocolate Santa Claus holding a wrapped Hershey's Kiss. Or C, a Betsy Clark glass ball that reads I'll be home for Christmas.
Mm.
I don't know who Betsy Clark is, so I can't say whether that would be true or not. Who's Betsy Clark?
But it sounded right when he said it.
The donkey in the sombrero sounds not exactly okay. And so the middle one was what?
The middle one was a chocolate Santa
chocolate
holding a
Santa.
wrapped Hershey's Kiss.
Mm. That one doesn't sound right to me.
Chocolate Santa?
Yeah.
How do you know it's chocolate? It's like looks like chocolate, or it looks like one of those foil wrapped chocolate Santas. Because chocolate Santas always come in like wrapped in foil.
Yeah, no, it was a Santa Claus figurine that was brown to resemble chocolate.
Okay, got it. So
Let's say that.
Yeah.
I'm going chocolate Santa's the lie.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right to me. I'm going chocolate Santa.
No, the chocolate Santa is actually correct. The lie was the Betsy Clark glass ball. It actually read, "A homemade touch can do so much to make each Christmas special."
But who is that person?
So she was a Texan that created these little characters. They're cutesy little doll kind of characters that were used on Hallmark cards, porcelain figurines. It's kind of like a more country version of Precious Moments. That's the one I'm thinking of. It's like a little more not quite as refined Precious Moments. All right, so I get a point there.
Man.
And last question, guys.
I need this one.
Let's bring it home.
I need it.
All
Last
right.
point wins.
We can do a winner take all. I don't mind. All right. Since the 1930s, Sears produced a holiday wish book. The 1988 Sears wish book, A, advertised itself as 5 catalogs in one. B, offered $20 off merchandise total of $100 or more. Or C, contained over 200 pages of 80s toys, sports equipment, and video games.
That's got to be true, the last one. So $20 off $100 or more. That's a pretty generous discount. Although, I don't know. I was going through some of those, like the old wish books recently, and prices, I don't know if it was like just 80s inflation, but some of the prices for certain things like seem kind of like today prices. You know, you sort of expect, you look at a catalog from the 80s and you're like, oh, a video game for like 25 cents or something.
Yeah.
But to give get $20 off 100 or more seems a little unlikely. And then the other one was, it said that it was 5 catalogs in one.
Right.
Yeah.
Said 88.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, and I have nothing to base this on, the 5 catalogs in one just doesn't seem right to me. You know, the $20 off 100, that's 20%. That's a nice discount, but in 88 with NES and things like that being popular, that would be pretty easy for people to, spend that amount. I'm going with 5 catalogs in one.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my 20% off $100 or more.
Locked in?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. And the point goes to Brian. It
Whoa.
was $10 off 100
Finally.
and $20 off of 200 or more. So 10 off of 100, 20 off 200.
10%.
So 10%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Off your first 100, yeah. All right, well.
All right.
You on Wishbook Web to find that?
Yeah, I love that site.
I want to have that guy on my podcast. I actually reached out to him a couple of times. Like we sort of traded message and they didn't go very far. And I also should say, I'm going to give a shout out to a podcast, the Everything 80s podcast. This guy in Canada, I think he's like some kind of fitness coach in his full-time job, but he has a really good podcast. Whenever anyone's like, oh, like just recommend me some random podcast, I always say the Everything 80s. And actually got some of my questions from round one from that guy's podcast.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. I'd love to have him as a guest.
Yeah, that'd be a cool episode.
Well, you should have him as a guest, Jared.
Well, I'm trying. I got a few folks that are all retro 80s lined up.
Cool.
So hopefully it'll be good times. Oh man. So do we want to recap the final scores or do we just want to say I won?
Recap them.
All right.
Take your victory.
All right. You know what? After losing so badly last time, I will revel in this just a little bit longer. And Brian, I understand because that's where I was last time.
Agony of defeat. Yeah.
Just right where you were is exactly where I was. And I still owe you a promo, by the way. So I'll get you one. So coming in third, we have Brian with 7.5 points. Todd is second with 17.5 points. And I managed to outlast at 21.5 points. And that concludes part 3 and our whole shebang of 2 truths and a lie. I hope you all enjoyed it. And I do want to ask you guys before we go, G.I. Joe, they taught us that knowing is half the battle. What would you say is the other half?
So the full phrase was, now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
Right.
I would say that the other half is knowing that the people you're on a podcast with are diabolical, psychotic, habitual liars. As long as you know that up front, you know how to proceed.
Well, I would imagine if knowing is half the battle, then the fighting would be the other half of the battle.
It's also very good. Yeah.
The actual battling.
The actual battle. Yeah. Well, those are both better than mine. Mine is if knowing is half the battle, the other half is lying through your teeth. Guys, this has been so much fun. But what do you want to plug? Like, tell me about your guys' shows.
Todd, you take it first.
All right. I host Christmas Clatter. It's a podcast and YouTube channel where we celebrate everything that makes Christmas special, from movies to music to the lights, decorations, family, friends, food, and even those quiet moments of reflection. Check us out wherever you find podcasts, or youtube.com/Christmas Clatter, or just simply ChristmasClatter.com.
Yeah, and Christmas Past since 2016 has been telling you the fascinating stories behind your favorite Christmas traditions, with episodes coming out every couple of days between Thanksgiving and Christmas. However, in recent years, we're getting into the Christmas spirit a little early with Burr Months bonus episodes. The Burr Months, of course, are those 4 months ending in the letters BER. So since September 1st, we've been putting out weekly episodes. And after Thanksgiving, we're back to telling the stories behind your favorite Christmas traditions. So Christmas Past, wherever you find your podcasts, as they say. You can find it on YouTube too, but I'm not as active a YouTuber as Todd is.
Yeah, and I have no YouTube account, so I'm definitely not. Oh man, guys, this was a lot of fun, and I hope we can do maybe another round, or maybe another game, sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
All right. Well, thank you both, and thank you all for listening.
Yes.
And
can I end it by saying Christmas Past is amazing. Christmas Clatter is fantastic. Totally Rad Christmas is terrible. Wait a sec. Are we still playing? No? Okay, well, check us out on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're feeling like myself, winning at 2 Truths and a Lie, leave us a review on iTunes. Not only does it help us reach more people, but you also get a free sticker. Later, dudes. What's up, dudes? It's Jerry D from Totally Rad Christmas Podcast, and I'm here to tell you all about the Christmas Past podcast. It's the fascinating backstories to the Christmas traditions you cherish. Christmas Past brings you year-round Christmas history, forgotten Christmas fiction, roundtables, interviews, and most of all, Christmas cheer. And it's all from the uniquely warm and nostalgic world of the legendary Brian Earl, who started all of us Christmas podcasters on this wonderful, wonderful venture. It's where the holiday season never ends. So if you haven't gone to check out Christmas Past podcasts, you need to. It's totally radical. Later, dudes.
Hello, this is Todd Killian from the Christmas Clatter podcast. What makes Christmas special to you? Is it the movies or the music, the food or family, the gifts or decorations? Maybe those quiet moments of reflection. Whatever it is, join me for Christmas Clatter, a monthly podcast dedicated to everything that makes Christmas special. Visit ChristmasClatter.com for all social media links and find Christmas Clatter podcast on all podcast apps. Thank you. And remember, keep Christmas hope alive every day.